Hello my friends, welcome back. Welcome back to another one of these series of videos on the folklore, mythology and symbolism of plants, trees and flowers of Britain, Ireland and Northern Europe. So today, the bluebell, the humble, beautiful, magical bluebell. So we're coming up to the end of April now, which means Beltaine is upon us, or Beltaine if you like, or May Day perhaps if you're English, 1st of May. So this is one of the old Celtic feast days, one of the fire festivals, one of the main ones actually, possibly the most important in the wheel of the year. So Beltaine is sort of the other side of the year from Samhain. Samhain, Halloween, is the beginning of winter. Here, now, is the beginning of summer. And a flower which encapsulates all the hope and promise of summer. Hello, my boy. Come on then. Come and be in the YouTube video with me. Is the bluebell. So, really, really beautiful flower. Don't knock my camera, you bugger. I've just picked this bluebell. Technically that's against the law. I do have permission from the landowner to do that. A good reason why you shouldn't pick a bluebell is because you will anger the fairies or the others, the fae, the elves, the sídhe, whatever you like to call those discarnate entities that live just the other side of the glass, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so not usually, depending on what part of Britain or Ireland you're in, not usually very good luck to pick a bluebell. But I'm in the West Country where actually bringing a bluebell into your home brings the blessing of the little folk, and they'll sometimes do nice things for you around the house. So a lot of the folklore around this flower, as I've suggested, is about fairies or the others, and that's probably a very, very, very old thing. Now, if you've watched any of the other of my flower videos, like the video on the dandelion that I've just done, I'll put a link on, you may notice a theme here that quite a lot of flowers are associated with fairies, and indeed they are. There's mythological, folkloric reasons for that. That the coming of humans made a lot of the fairies fled, and a lot of them took the forms of flowers because they are so dainty and beautiful. Some fairies wear the little bells as caps, but yeah, very, very strongly associated with fairy lore, but not always in a positive way. This flower can have a bit of a dark aspect as well. So there's a lot of stories in lots of places throughout Britain and Ireland of people getting lost in the woods and following trails of bluebells. As you can see behind me here, they're growing in a kind of carpet, as if the sky had fallen to the earth, but sometimes they grow more in trails, just to do with the conditions of the soil and the complex arrangements of the forest. But people following these pathways and getting lost in the woods for hours or days, or even never returning or disappearing into the fairy realm and coming back years later. This is a very common theme in folklore, which you're probably aware of, especially if you've been subscribing to this channel. But yeah, strong associations with the fairy realm, this flower. It does have other associations as well that I'll get onto, but a lot of them might be more recent, particularly from the Victorian or Romantic eras. But the fairy association with this flower is very old. The reason I say that, or one of the reasons I say that, is because the folk names for this flower, of which there are many, more than possibly any other flower in these islands, but there's so many different varieties of have fairy in the name. A lot of them are also variations of blue and bell. Dead man's bells is one of them. Could be because the plant is very toxic. Could be because it is said that if a human hears the bells ringing, that's meant to be the fairy ringing the bell. Then that is their death knell. Then that person will die because they've been they've seen something of the other world they were not meant to see. We normally only witness the other world, the realm of the dying, the realm of the sídhe, the realm of the ancestors, when we're on death's door. So if you catch a peek before then, you're cheating. But a lot of the folk names for this flower And I've said on this channel before, if you're interested in folklore of plants, I really urge you to learn the old folk names for flowers in your area and talk to them by that name rather than hibiscus non scripta or whatever the Latin name is for this. It really turns them off if you do that, doesn't it? But try and learn the folk names. Yeah, fairy bells, dead man's bells, but also lots of things to do with cuckoo, cuckoo flower, cuckoo bell, and crows. Crow's legs, crow flower, crow bells. I read once in a book of flowers that this is because the cuckoo is very, very, you know, the cuckoo starts going woo-hoo this time of the year, so that's why it's called the cuckoo flower. Rubbish, I say. There's a reason why both the crow and the cuckoo are associated with this flower, and again, it's to do with what I've already mentioned. Fairies, the ancestors, the other world, and the afterlife. And that's one of the main symbolisms of this flower. Note the blue colour, often associated with the afterlife, possibly because of the blue of the sky that, again, as I've said, has fallen to earth at this time of year. It's really stunning to walk in ancient woodland filled with bluebells. It's another point, by the way. It's almost always a sign of ancient woodland, the bluebell. I'm on a little strip between two patches of farmland right now, but once upon a time this whole area was covered by something called Braden Forest, an ancient sea of oak. It's been gradually picked away by agriculture over the millennia, but when you get an area between two agricultural fields like I'm on now, often you still get a strip of ancient woodland where those old associations still dwell, and further that way there's quite a large patch of really ancient forest, and it's just carpeted with these things. 50% of all the bluebells in the world grow in Britain and Ireland. This, by the way, is the English bluebell. You'll hear a lot about Spanish bluebells on YouTube as well, which are an imposter that sailed over here with the Armada, but they are an invasive species. You also get a lot of the Spanish variety in the USA and Canada, where they are also an invasive species. If you have any of this, the English bluebell, you can tell the way it curves over and is a bit more of a delicate flower, then you're very lucky indeed, because it has fairy associations. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there. Crows and cuckoos. Now, crows obviously are associated with the underworld, with the dead, with the spirits of the ancestors, and crossing over to the other side. One of the reasons why Odin or Woden has crows or ravens about him. Very important to the ancient Celts, the crow. And the black dog. Speaking of which, Nero! Ah, he's gone. The cuckoo as well. What does the cuckoo do? It steals other birds' eggs and replaces it with their own, just like a changeling or the fairy or the others. You must be aware of this meme. Lots of it's very, very common British fairy story of your child suddenly being different, and in the night one of the others, one of the fae, has come and swapped your baby with a child of its own, so you'll bring it up as your own. And that is exactly what sometimes happens if a child goes wandering in a bluebell wood alone picking flowers. So I think that is the reason this is sometimes called the cuckoo bell or the cuckoo flower, and that is one of the main folkloric associations with this flower, with the other world, with the dead, with the dying, with the spirit world. It also has associations with, and this is very old, with telling the truth, which may be connected here. If you wear a wreath of bluebells, you are compelled to tell the truth. Where you try to sneak a bluebell onto the clothing of someone that you want to be honest about something, and then there's certain things that need to be done, which I won't go into, but then you will compel them to blurt out the truth, and later on they may find the crumpled flower. So yes, a flower of truth-telling, also gratitude and everlasting love, but I don't know if that isn't a more recent 19th century addition, but certainly the connection with fairies and fairy lore is very, very old with this flower. And as I say, I think a lot of that might be because of the time of year it blooms. Again, around Beltane. So bringing us back to that, because Beltane is one of those times of the year where the gateway between dimensions, between worlds, is very, very thin, just like Halloween at the other end of the year. So the spirits of the dead, which sallied forth at Samhain, at Halloween, and grew at their height at the wild hunt at winter solstice, are now going back to the burial mounds and graves and under the hills and mountains of this land, and the doorway opens in 2 days' time at the 1st of May. So that's probably why this flower, which is at its peak at this time of year, is so strongly associated with the she, the fae, the fairies, the elves, the others. You know what I'm talking about. So my friends, thank you very much. That was a right old ramble, that one. And the sun's just come out, so clearly someone on the other side is smiling on me. On that note, if you've liked this video, please give it a like. That does help me a lot. Comment, and if you want to follow what I'm doing, do feel free to follow me on Patreon. I'll put a link in the description. Happy Beltane, my friends. Take it easy. Don't pick any bluebells.